Haiti is situated in the southwest of Cuba, on the Caribbean island of Hispaniola. In times of colonialism, it was called the Pearl of the Caribbean. The western part of Hispaniola is Haiti. The eastern part is the Dominican Republic. Haiti is very mountainous. It is about the size of Massachusetts, and its population is estimated at about 12 million. The vast majority of the inhabitants of its capital, Port-au-Prince, are extremely poor. The city, where almost everything is made, sold, and bought on the sidewalk, is lively and terribly noisy. Densely populated Port-au-Prince is colorful and teeming with life, but it is also drowning in garbage, which is everywhere, especially when rain washes it down the streets. The city also suffocates under pollution of exhaust fumes and burning waste. The rich and even middle class protect themselves with fences, high walls covered in broken glass, barbed wire, and often with armed guards. The vast majority live in poverty, many even in deep misery. Most of Port-au-Prince is made up of poor neighborhoods and shanty towns, whose huts often crowd up against the walls of the villas of the rich. In fact, most of Port-au-Prince's rich or wealthy middle-class neighborhoods are surrounded by slums. Cité Soleil is a huge slum, the largest in the northern hemisphere. It is estimated at about 400,000 people living on 5 square kilometers. However, due to the fact that many people do not have birth certificates, it is difficult to know exactly just how many live in these clusters of miserable shacks. Most of the shacks are made of pieces of sheet metal that are rusty and full of holes. The shacks are terribly warm under the tropical sun. When they can, people paint them white to try to reduce the effect of the sun, as we see here. However, these shacks do not protect much from the heavy tropical rains. Water drenches everything as it floods the entire slum, where everybody ends up wading through mud. Poverty in Cité Soleil is obvious. People lack everything. The conditions are alarming: precarious and unhealthy environment, piles of rubbish and mud everywhere, serious problems of toilets facilities, major problem of drinking water supply, very limited access to electricity, lack of infrastructure, almost non-existent public services, including access to doctors. This little boy shows us his house. A shed made of sheet metal, full of holes, hidden behind hollow cinder block walls. It was so dark that we had trouble filming. His mother, who'd agreed that we could visit, was so ashamed that she left before we arrived. This hut is a typical example of the way many families must live, often forced to live together with 5, 6, or even 10 people. This is the bed, a box spring without mattress, covered with rags and pieces of fabric on which 4 boys sleep with their mother. In other huts, people sleep not only on the bed, but also underneath, except when it rains. And this is the kitchen, a small fireplace on the ground. In some parts of the slums, the huts are made of blocks. They almost never have windows and only an opening where a curtain serves as a door. For most people, it is an ordeal to find necessary food. Food is expensive, so people often simply just starve. Feeding only on starchy foods, white rice or corn, they suffer from severe deficiencies and are sometimes not thin but rather puffy due to malnutrition. An estimated 90% of the population of Cité Soleil are unemployed, and those who do have work still have great difficulty feeding themselves and their families because they are so poorly paid. Parents cannot afford to provide their children with a quality education because schools are not free in Haiti. And it is also necessary to buy uniforms, shoes, school supplies, etc. Only a very small part of the population can, with great sacrifice, send their children to school. Parents have to put all their energy into trying to find food for their children and themselves. Parents must, for example, rummage through the city's garbage or probe the canals that serve as landfills to find bits of metal that they can sell by weight. Such parents do not have time to spend with their children, who are then left completely on their own. Often these children don't know the names of colors or parts of the body or what left and right mean. Adults don't talk to them enough. Because of its population, Cité Soleil is a slum coveted by all kinds of politicians who are eager to manipulate and buy hundreds of thousands of votes. It is also an extremely dangerous, lawless area where crime and violence reign. Thefts, rapes, extortion, kidnappings, murders are rotting the lives of the inhabitants, and people from outside do not venture there. Children suffer enormously from the insecurity that prevails there, even if sometimes they do not know how to give words to their suffering. Fortunately, like most Haitians, they know how to enjoy the present moment when it is good. Without this, they would probably not be able to survive. A moment of true calm, a plate of rice, a smile, a good joke, and for a moment all the misery and fear are forgotten. Yet one person, a nun, Sister Paésie, has dared to enter the dangerous neighborhood and is working to improve the lives of these children. After working for many years with the missionary sisters of Mother Teresa in different parts of the world, including Haiti, this French nun founded the Kitsito family congregation dedicated to the poorest of Port-au-Prince children. Kitsito is the name of a young Ugandan saint martyred at the age of 14. In the slums of Port-au-Prince, mainly in Cité Soleil, Sister Paésie has created various projects. They aim to fight crime and corruption that plague children and young people. By sending children to school, offering them healthy sports and cultural activities that can help them develop, and also by giving them one meal a day, Sister Paésie hopes to break the inevitable vicious circle of this kind of neighborhood and to offer them a way to earn a living other than by crime or prostitution. The slum is divided into districts which children hardly leave because it is dangerous. Surrounded by violence, they often live in fear. Therefore, it is necessary to set up the projects directly in their neighborhood, in their district, otherwise they would not come. By the end of 2019, Sister Paésie has already founded 8 small schools, each one in a different district of the Cité Soleil slum. In total, 1,000 children are taught in these schools and receive a simple hot meal every day. Although the St. Michael's School is in a terrible state, it gives a good number of children a place to go. First of all, they have to learn the discipline of showing up regularly and being on time. Then they can learn to read and write. This kind of preschool allows them to acquire the vocabulary and all the basics they need in order to attend another school. There are too many children, so some have classes in the morning and others in the afternoon. Often when it rains, a classroom is flooded, forcing two groups of children and their teachers to share a single room. The children love their school. They come in large numbers willingly and often put a lot of effort into their learning. They feel and they know that going to school is a unique opportunity. They also feel safe here, safe enough to be carefree. The school is an oasis of peace, protection from the gang wars within the slum, real wars between different districts where it is not safe to cross a street. Neither the fact that they can hear everything that is happening in the adjacent classrooms, nor the miserable condition of the building, prevents these children from learning. The structure of the building, with grass growing on the roof, is so damaged that Sister Paésie is desperately looking for another place to house this school, for fear that it will one day collapse on the children. A toilet has been installed, which all neighbors are allowed to use as well. Toilets are very rare in the slum. This school, like the others, also has a kitchen. Each child who goes to one of the 8 schools or participates in the other activities receives a meal. This meal is often the only one he or she gets all day. In the afternoon, there are sewing and embroidery classes, dance and sports classes, football, basketball, and handball. On Saturday and Sundays, catechism classes bring together a large number of children. In Haiti, in order to be baptized or to receive communion, a person needs the appropriate clothes, a candle, etc. The parents, so poor that they often do not know how to feed their children, cannot afford that. Sister Paésie then pays so that the children can go to church and be accepted as a part of the community. Experience shows that a good anchoring in the Christian religion, which is the religion of the majority of Haitians, and a healthy deepening of Christian values gives these children a kind of inner compass that supports them in dealing with their difficult living conditions. Many parents come to ask that their children be accepted to one of these schools. The demand is huge, and of course, many of them also turn to Sister Paésie for help with all kinds of problems. Here we see one of Sister Paésie's other schools, located in another part of the slum, in a smaller but better building. Sister Paésie also opened homes for little street boys and girls, the Marcel Van homes. As of October 2020, 98 former street kids live in 5 houses. All of them go to school, and you can see right away how well and safe they feel. Street children never are safe. They are always on their guard, and especially at night. They never sleep well, knowing that even the little that they do have could be stolen: food, sandals, money, etc. So the first period at the homes is spent sleeping days on end. Many have told us the story of their lives. All of them experienced hardship, have experienced violence, and have had to beg, sleeping on the sidewalk, until someone brought them to Sister Paésie.
Maman moi était morte 12 janvier. 12 janvier, moi était levé depuis tout petit. Ma sœur était venue, mon côté ensemble avec moi était venue. Elle travaille dans le camion de l'eau, elle fait bail travail. Pour ça, moi était venue rencontrer une dame qui t'a mené au côté de Sister Paésie, qui t'a dit que tu as l'école. Après ça, je n'ai parlé avec ma sœur, je t'ai dit que je venir la caille, je était d'accord.
Many of these little ones, like this one here, burst into tears when they told us about the moment when they were accepted to the home, when they knew they could stay. Emotion overwhelms this little boy when he remembers being accepted to the home, when he finally had a home, a place where he felt safe and loved. Summer camps and excursions are organized to take the children out of their neighborhoods, to broaden their horizons, to introduce them to the nature of their island, a forest, for example, or an old fort with its remaining cannons. Their joy is palpable when they can finally play like the children they truly are. In the small garden of the home, these children here have transformed pieces of hollow blocks into a construction game. They built a hotel. Street children sometimes still have parents, and Sister Paésie and her team are actively looking for them. Their goal is, when possible, to return the children to his or her family while continuing to look after him or her. Several beautiful reunions have taken place. Sister Paésie has a whole team working with her, a few sisters, postulants or novices, volunteers, and of course a good number of employees, teachers, cooks, educators, so happy to have a job. She is supported by the French Association of General Interest, Famille Catito Haiti France, whose members do everything possible to finance her projects. The American Foundation Riser Relief, the German Association Haiti Kinderhilfe, and different others also help finance the projects. But alas, it is never enough. Sister Paésie's financial buffer is for the food she distributes daily to 1,000 children who go to the 8 little slum schools in the Cité Soleil slum. If there is not enough money, there is no food. The children and the parents know that sometimes this happens. They know she is doing everything she can to help them, and they are full of gratitude. But even apart from the question of daily food, all her projects are in need of money. Please help so that these poorest of children can go on getting food, education, and more opportunities to discover hope and joy.